Welcome. So from my right, Chris Carnegie, John Voight, AJ Schur, and Edgar Poe. So please state your name and organization and which player you would like to answer your question. We'll start with you, Ken.
Ken Kreitzer, Sons of American Legion Radio. Congratulations, guys.
Maybe to start with AJ, you really had to compete today. Overcame kind of some things in the start, but then you had your 2 touchdown runs and a great pass, Edgar. Just tell us about how the game flow went for you.
The first half started off a little shaky. I missed a couple days of practice this week, just being banged up, and I think missing those reps kind of hurt me. But I was really proud of just how the team responded. You know, if things go your way or they don't go your way, just keep coming back and playing the next play. And I think we did a great job of that, especially in the second half. Defense played their butts off. They pitched a shutout in the second half, and that really helped us as an offense do what we needed to do to put us ahead.
Just going to ask Chris Carnegie about the defense. Made a lot of stops, especially in the second half. What adjustments did you make? And then just tell us about your interception.
At halftime, we came in obviously frustrated just because, we felt like Bucknell was, they were playing really well, but the mistakes that we made, gave up the big scores, the 2 scores before the half. And, we just weren't content with how we were playing. We felt like we started focusing on things that we didn't need to focus on. And so that's what we really paid attention to. The second half came out and did what we were supposed to do, and that's how things fell into place, and that's how I got the interception.
Just ask Edgar. Got to go back to you on your touchdown pass. Just take us through the play and your feeling about making an important touchdown like that.
We talked about it on the sideline, giving the shot to one of the receivers. And Coach Ware and AJ were right there in that conversation, and they'd asked what type of ball that it wanted to be thrown, and I just said, give it a 50-50 ball. I'd rather jump for the ball and try to make a play on the ball than have something catastrophic happen, trying to throw a back shoulder pass or something. But, the line protected it really well. AJ was able to get the ball out. And I'm happy that he trusted me enough to be able to go up and get the ball. And, I feel like there's multiple guys on the team that could have made the same play. I just happened to be the one that was called to do it today. And, like AJ said earlier, we wouldn't have even been in that position if the defense hadn't played as well as they had in the second half. So, it's a team effort all the way around. I'm just really proud of my guys.
Go ahead, Ron.
AJ, how do you prepare yourself for possibly entering a game when you're on the sidelines? You have no idea if the next play is going to happen, the play after that. How do you just get yourself like, okay, now it's my turn, what do I do? How do you?
We stress to everybody who, might be the next guy up, or, even if you're 2 plays away from, going in the game, knowing what the play call is, whether it's offense or defense, so you're in tune with the game. So if you know what the defense or the offense is running and on your side of the ball, and you can see what the defense is in, you can take a mental rep and you're not out of the loop of what's going on. And then when guys come off the sideline, if you're not in the game, you're talking back and forth saying, hey, I saw this, or these guys are doing this when we, line up like this. So you're always in tune to the game. That way, if you are called, the only thing you got to do is go out and, play. But you've heard everything that's going on. And when you get out there and see it, it just all clicks.
Go ahead, Sal.
To any one of the guys, what was the halftime speech like in the locker room after they scored late?
I think it was somebody came in and we kind of said it. It's on us. It's not drawing up some scheme that's gonna not allow Bucknell to make a play. It's always, it comes down to us doing our fundamentals, doing our assignments, and doing them to the best of our ability and just execute. So I think there were multiple guys just yelling, it's up to us. The coaches can't do it. They can't draw up something special that doesn't allow Bucknell to do anything. And I think a lot of guys took that to heart, kind of buckled down, and finally realized, like, hey, whether it's working or it's not working, it's all about us. So. Did you get any of the offensive players together at halftime just to talk to them and stuff? I think Kelvin White was the most vocal. He and Hugenberg came in, and that's really what they were stressing. And I think I heard Kelvin say it, whether we're marching down the field and moving the ball at will, or, we're going 3 and out, it's usually on us. Very rarely And give credit to the opposing team. Sometimes they come out and they'll make a couple plays in a row and they'll get us off the field. But, usually you can look at it and say, hey, we didn't block this guy or we made the wrong read or something like that. So that's what they were stressing when they got in there.
AJ, that throw for you, I mean, is that something you probably work on a lot? Just talk about how that, for you, how much that meant for you.
That throw is kind of one of those, when I asked Edgar, what kind of throw do you want? Do you want me to try and throw it, behind you and away from the defender, or want me to try and lead you and hit you in stride, or just throw it up in the air? So just throwing it up in the air it's kind of like a grade school play. Just go down there, I'm going to throw it, and you go get it. And the offensive line did a phenomenal job, the fullback and the slot back on the protection. I don't think any time that we ran a play-action pass today that I was sacked. So credit to them. They did a phenomenal job on all pass protections today. And Edgar made a heck of a play, just going and getting it.
John, can you just talk about the pressure the defensive line got on the quarterback? You maybe didn't sack him, but you forced him into some quick throws.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the first half we weren't where we wanted to be when it came to pressure. We felt like we needed to make more plays as a front and get more pressure on them. So I think in the second half, we really came out and started making less mistakes and getting in his face and started refining our techniques so we can make plays. And we didn't sack them, but we got enough pressures, enough hurries where I think it affected their offense and their drives. So,
a couple of defensive notes there. Bucknell had 69 yards of total offense in the second half, and for the game they were 2 of 12 on third down. By the way, so can you get another question?
Just going to ask AJ. It seemed like it was tough running up the middle against those two big defensive tackles they had, and then you went to the outside. You ran 31 times. What did it take just to try to open up the running game?
Bucknell had a it seemed like they had a mindset of we're not going to let you run the ball in the middle. They were a heavy pinch team, and their kind of outside perimeter guys kind of wanted to funnel everything back in. They didn't want us to get the ball outside. And you saw when we were fortunate enough to get the ball outside, we picked up some good yardage. And teams are going to do that, and you just got to find a way to move them out of there. Or if they want you to kind of try to test your luck on the perimeter, we got to do our best to get the ball out there. And I think we did everything we could and just found a way to get the job done.
Just any of the players, what's your thought about winning a game at home and being in front of your core of cadets?
It's extremely important for us. Obviously, we struggled the first half of the season. We were really close in a lot of games, and we just didn't do enough to get the wins. And so, as a team, we all just came together and saying, like, the second half of the season, we really just got to get together and fix those small things that we were messing up in the first half and try to get the thing turned around. And, we came out early and weren't really getting the job done. Halftime, everyone realized how important it was to turn things around, and what we weren't doing came out second half and got it done. And in front of the core is extremely important, just because their spirit helps push us. Even though we got to keep doing what we need to do regardless of the crowd or whatever, but it's really important for the core, and having their support is really helpful for us as well.
You had another one, Ron?
Yeah. Last after giving up so many points last week against Duke, how important was for you guys, the defense, to buckle down this week and say, all right, we ain't going to do that no more?
It's extremely important, because last week it was extremely embarrassing as a defense. There was a point in the game where we felt like we just kind of tapped out and just gave up. And, we came out this week and we're really, angry about how we played and just kind of, didn't show up last week. And so to come out and, we still gave up 14 points, but Bucknell, they were giving us a lot. Like they made those plays happen. And in the second half, we just kind of, knew what we were capable of doing and pitched a shutout. So that's what we've been going for all season.
You with the players, guys? Go ahead, Ken.
Just ask AJ, you talked, I think, after the Penn State game a little bit about overcoming mistakes early in a game. It's a 4-quarter game. What was it like for you just to keep the offense moving and be productive in the fourth quarter and then make that big throw?
Yeah, like you said, I think, we really pride ourselves. Coach Munkin all the time preaches, the next play, the next play. It doesn't matter what happened the play before, and you can't control the the play that's coming up. So do your best to just focus on the play that you got right in front of you. Whatever happens, happens, and you move on to the very next one. And I just think we did a good job of that today. And especially, at halftime we came in and kind of said, hey, guys, let's go out and play this drive. And I don't think we scored on the first drive, but the second drive in the third quarter we were able to punch it in. And that's just what we got to keep doing, is just moving on one play at a time and doing our very best job on that play and not focusing on the past play or the future play.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Let's we'll have Coach Monken make an opening statement, then we'll take questions. Coach.
Okay. Well, it was good to get a win, and as unappealing as it was at times, it still counts the same, and we were darn sure glad to get it. We've been awfully close a bunch of times this year, and had some games early in the year that I thought we were in position to win, and we didn't. And I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of the effort they gave, particularly in the second half. The defense just did a great job in the second half, not allowing them to score at all, and just be able to come out with a victory was big for our guys, because last week I thought we just got beat. Duke did a great job against us, and when you get beat like that, sometimes it's a little pressing on your ego, and you start to wonder, golly sakes, we could beat that bad, and you start to question maybe a little bit the kids, and they say, we weren't really doing anything different than we'd done the first 5 weeks. How come that one wasn't close? And so to come back and be down at halftime like we were, and I really thought our kids did a great job. They challenged each other, and there was a determination at halftime coming out that they were going to try to find a way to win a football game. And I thought they really battled with that effort. There wasn't ever a time, even on offense, and we weren't moving the ball very well. And credit to Bucknell. What a great plan they had, and Coach Susan did a really nice job, he and his staff. But there wasn't ever a time that our guys looked like they were concerned that we weren't going to win the game. They were determined to find a way, and there was always that winning spirit. Every huddle, every time there was a timeout, we got over there together, every change of possession, and I'm really proud of that. That's important, especially at this point in our season, having had so many disappointing losses, where we've said all along, we do a couple more things right, maybe they are victories, and that's a step forward to me. And as I said early in the week, the second half of a season for a team like us that was 1-5 going through the first half of the year, it's kind of a chance to start again and play the second half. And I thought that today was maybe an example of hopefully how we'll play the second half of the season with a lot of determination and a lot of grit.
Go ahead, Ken.
Coach, AJ sure had to go in early in the game, and then had a couple interceptions, but then he came back to lead 3 drives and make that big throw at the end. Just maybe take us through AJ's game.
He wasn't full speed all week, and he wasn't today when he took the field. And certainly there were a couple of times where he got out there on the edge and maybe full speed, he's able to gain some more yards or even pop out of there and run away from everybody, as he did a couple weeks ago. We saw him make a good long run for a touchdown, and he just didn't have that. But I thought it was a really gritty performance, him running the ball, just trying to hammer it in there and gain yards. And so I thought there was some times where he could have found his blocks a little bit better, and he'll see that on film, and hopefully that'll improve. And he struggled throwing the ball there, just trying to force a couple of throws that weren't there, and that's trying to make a play. And we've told him before, you can reserve the right to punt. It's not against the rules to punt. It's not my first choice, but that's sometimes you got to do that. And you can sail that thing out of bounds and take 2nd and 10 or take 4th down and go punt. And he didn't do a good job with that a couple of times. And but he still came back and made some really nice throws. Made a nice throw to Edgar on the corner route, and then just a little bit better touch. I thought he was going to put that one DeAndre Bell on the crossing route, and then he came back and hit Edgar. It wasn't a great throw either on the throw to Edgar. Edgar did a great job going up and getting the ball and making a play. But it's good to have a guy like that that's got some game experience. He's a senior to come in off the bench and be able to lead our team.
Coach, on defense, it seemed like you made some adjustments in the second half, and you were trying to use a variety of players to put pressure on the Bucknell quarterback.
They broke a lot of tendencies from just looking at them over the course of the season and things that they had done out of personnel groups and formations, and you game plan for what they've done, and then you got to make adjustments after they after they start to do some different things. And I thought Jay and the staff did a really nice job. The 2 touchdowns, one was after the interception that AJ threw over the middle there to Kelvin, and they picked it, and they 2-play drive. They had a 9-yard run, and then they had that little screen pass, and we had Brandon Jackson out there, and he really should have leveraged outside. He went inside and gave him the sideline, and they ran that one in, and then the other drive was right before half, and that's probably the one that's most disappointing. They went 70-some yards in about a minute and a half, and we didn't do a great job defending them there. We let them hit that 4th down play there with that little switch route they ran and got out of position. But our guys did a great job bowing their backs and playing great defense in the second half. Those guys are out there a long time in the first half. For the way we play, you'd like for them to not be out there so much. But they kept having to go out there, and they answered the bell. And in the second half, I thought there was a great determination by those guys to get him stopped and get him off the field.
Go ahead, Ron.
Coach, talk about the excuse me, AJ's a big pass to Poe.
Just a play action pass, and typically we'll get the receivers will be single covered because we run the option. People do have to play the option, and sometimes they can get a safety over the top late, and that other people have done that, and they were doing that some when we were throwing some passes in the first half. They were getting an extra defender, but you see it on the highlights. If you go home and turn on the TV today, I bet you'll see 5 or 6 passes just like that, where somebody just catches a shotgun snap and they throw it to their best receiver, and he outruns the guy, or he goes up and gets it and goes and scores. Everybody's got a play like that, and he just made a really good play. We had talked about it in the break prior to that, and giving him a chance and throwing it up there and seeing if he could go make a play, and he did. He did a great job. It wasn't a very well thrown ball. It was a little bit short. It was kind of right on top of the defender's helmet, and Edgar went over the top of him and got it and made a good run to score.
How's Ahmed's shoulder?
We don't know until we get an MRI, which we will hopefully tomorrow or in the next couple of days. So we'll let it cool off a little bit. I'm sure there's some swelling in there. But I saw him in the locker room, and he said it felt okay. So it wasn't a great deal of pain. And we'll just have to see. You can never tell what's going on underneath there until you get some technology to help you.
Go ahead, Sal.
How much does winning this game at home maybe help the team in the second half, just getting that out of the way?
Just to win was good. Just to get a victory. And winning's not easy, and certainly this wasn't an easy one for us. But we were in desperate need of a victory, and we've talked about, we've been in so many close games that really we came up short on, and had been sorely disappointed because we can recognize that there was some places that we had control, and a couple places where we didn't have control, but that breaks didn't go our way, or we didn't make a play that we needed to, and didn't win. So though I'm not real fired up maybe about how we played, I think we could have played a lot better, certainly offensively. We made some mistakes in the kicking game, like trying to gather up that punt that had hit the ground. And there's a freshman, and I don't know what happened in his heart of hearts or his head, what he thought and why he had to get that ball. But those are things that we got to get corrected because they can certainly get you beat. But as ugly as it was, it still counts the same in the win column, and that's what we need. And it doesn't matter how we've had some games we played really well and lost, and those still count the same. You don't get credit for how it looks. Pretty or not counts as a win, and I'm thrilled to have it, and it's good for our football team for sure.
Going with Hyatt and Johnson at corner to start the game, was that a scheme thing, or was that?
No, the other two guys showed up late for a meeting this morning.
Interesting. Other questions for Coach? Go ahead, Ken.
Just going to ask about Jordan Asbury. Had a good running day, took some pitch outs, caught a pass. Kind of example of some of the young players that are gaining experience, having more impact?
Probably his best run was that last one where he made the guy miss out there in the open field. It was a big play. We needed it. And there's a lot of young guys out there. As Marcus Hyatt, Nick Black, Kalen Holt, Gibby Gibson. Who else? Brandon Jackson. Golly sakes. Victor Nieves. Rick Kurtz, Kenneth Brinson, Drew Harris. Those are all freshmen, all getting a lot of playing time. So, the more they play, the better they're going to get. So unfortunately, sometimes they make some freshman mistakes, and it's not easy for those guys to play at 18 years old, 19 years old. There's some grown 22, 23, 24-year-old men lining up across from them, and that's no excuse. They got to make a play. But we do have a lot of young guys out there that are getting their first experience in college football, and the more they play each week, you can see little improvements, and you can see them getting better and more confident. So Jordan's a really good athlete, and I thought he did a nice job handling the ball, catching the pitches, and really like I said, a nice run there on that last one in the fourth quarter.
Go ahead, Ron.
Coach, you did quite well today with the lack of turnovers.
Well, we had the 2 picks and we had the fumbled punt, and those certainly are all disappointing. The one set up a score for them, the interception there, and there's just no reason to have those. That's what's disappointing. We don't every one of those turnovers was avoidable. Didn't have to throw those 2 balls, and certainly we could have just let the cover team down that ball, and we got first down right there. So we got to get that fixed, and we got to get more balls back. Chris got the one at the end, and gave our offense a chance to take that last drive and run the clock out. But we got to get more balls back, and the goal is to win the turnover battle, and we haven't done that. We didn't do that last week. We were -3 last week. We're -2 today, and so we got to do a better job. You got to keep drives alive. The more chances you give the other team with the ball, the better chance they got to score. If you can keep it away from them, it usually decreases their chances of scoring.
Go ahead, Ken.
Just Coach, ask you about your offensive line play. It seemed like Bucknell was trying to sack the middle with those 2 big defensive tackles, so it gave you a little room. But they also had a pass block at the end. Just thoughts on the offensive line play.
We did a nice job protecting the passer, and we were using a max protection, using all 5 offensive linemen, the B-back, the slot back, using all those guys to protect the quarterback. And so we ought to have good protection when we're using that many guys and committing that many. The play-action passes is where we're using all those guys to protect them. We didn't do a good job sustaining blocks. We got to guys and then let them slide off of blocks, or and just a couple of times we were running the triple option, and the slot back's supposed to block the play side linebacker, and he just flat whiffs. Dives on the ground, dives at his feet, and the guy steps over and hammers the quarterback, and there's no running lane. Those are things we practice all the time, over and over, and it's disappointing not to do those things better. And we take pride in being able to run the football, and it just didn't seem. I don't know what our longest run play was. It might have been Asbury's run there at the end, but we didn't have any big runs, big plays in the run game. We got to hit some of those, and because it's really hard to take the ball down the field 3 yards at a time. And we had too many negative yardage plays. Some because we missed blocks, and others we probably should have pitched the ball or handed it off and didn't. And one, we pitched the ball backwards, and trainer had to go get on it. We ended up punting. We've got to eliminate negative yardage plays. Negative yardage plays just kill drives. They're very difficult to overcome. So we got to do a better job with that. We got to do a better job blocking Ken. That was probably where I was most disappointed, because our guys have done a good job against a bunch of teams that we played, and blocked and sustained blocks, and they just weren't doing that today. And the credit goes to Bucknell. Those guys were playing hard, and I thought Coach Susan had a really good plan. He was on the staff at Rutgers when we faced him when I was at another school, and they did a nice job. So credit to them. A lot of it had to do with them as well.
Coach Monk will be back here Tuesday as the Black Knights get ready to travel to Rice next weekend. Thanks for joining us. Go Army.